Well, the last video I did was a late night video. I was a little frustrated with a company called Daly Electrical. Um, I used them for the battery management systems, or BMSs, for my solar storage. And I bought my first one July of 24. Built my first battery, and all of a sudden it stopped communicating. And so uh, I reached out to them, and I tried the email route. It didn't work very well. Um, got the number for WhatsApp. If you haven't used WhatsApp, it's really a good way to communicate with companies that are in China. That way you don't have long distance bills. The downside is being in the United States and dealing with China is the time difference. And that's nobody's fault. It's not theirs, not ours. It's just when you're halfway around the world, the time's different. So um, when I was here in the U.S., it was anywhere from 11 o'clock at night till 1 o'clock in the morning. And that was the best time I found to message back and forth. And after having a delay with the email and then finally getting a message, and I was a little frustrated, and especially having invested heavily in their equipment, what kind of services was I going to get? And so I made a video, and I posted it, and I sent it to them. And um, they immediately got back with me and said, no, they said, Steve, we don't want to not take care of you. They said, we're wanting to run some testing so that we can see what caused the failure. And so if it's something that the engineers need to see what is different with your setup, is it something that we need to work on? And I didn't take it that way. I took it as just, all right, they're halfway around the world. They sold me a product, and it was pretty much good luck. And I found that over 4 days of testing and in working with the engineers, that that's not what it was about. And we made headway somewhere around day 3. And the nice part is it took time, because if they wanted me to, and I think part of it might be the language barrier, but if they wanted me to do a test a specific way on the BMS, they would send me a little video clip. And I would review the video clip, and then I would video myself doing the test. And I would send it back to them so they could see the results. And because, I very easily could have shipped the BMS to them. That would have taken 2 weeks to get to China. Then it would have been looked at. It would have been looked at under their lab conditions, not under the conditions I was using. And so it was really important to work with them under my conditions and my setup to see what was going on. And the long story short, if I could ever say that, on the 4th day, the 3rd day, they said, we're going to send you a new one, and so that you'll have one. And they said, we want to send you a cable so you can plug your laptop in directly to the BMS, so we can try to communicate with the BMS that way. Because I had been using an interface board. And actually, I think, yeah. So, I use these interface boards. Let's open the package. And so just so you know, this stuff, they have not paid me to do this. This was from my research and my work. So, and I buy all of my parts. So, you know, I'm not being compensated for this at all. So what I'm sharing with you is real life experience with Daly. And I said, I have all those cables. Because that was something I bought. And so they have me run another test. So somehow the address on the BMS got changed. We don't know how. I can tell you that I had not been hooked up to the BMS with my laptop in months because it was a set it and forget it. I didn't have to mess with it. I hooked up, it runs, the electricity comes from the panels, goes to the inverters, goes into the batteries, comes back out. I don't have to do anything. I monitor it every once in a while, and that was routine monitoring when I realized this one battery of the 4 that I had built wasn't communicating. And so, in the meanwhile, while we're working on this, they shipped a replacement, and the replacement arrived today. And so we addressed the addressing issue on the BMS, and it started working again. And so yes, it was 4 days of testing back and forth, partially because of the time difference. It's not because it took them 4 days to do it. Partially because the engineers had to look at things and look at data, and try to see what's going on. But in the meanwhile, they had shipped a BMS and some cables. I'm not exactly sure what they sent, to be honest. So it arrived today. I got the little box here, and so I thought I would share with you what they sent. I haven't opened this. This is just how it arrived in the mail, and so I figured what a better way to see what's going on, but to actually see. So packaging there, and then it's a Daly BMS box. Let's open it up here. All right, so we've got the instruction sheet that comes with them all. A Wi-Fi module, which all of mine are Wi-Fi. That came with it. Now this is new. I've never had this in one of my BMSs. So thank you for choosing Daly products. Our goal is to make sure you're happy. If there's any problems, please contact us. Contact today to register for an additional 2 more years of warranty for free. Our after sales and technical service team. There's a WhatsApp number, and I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can bring this in here because they sent it, and let's see if we can get this. So, and I'll post the number and the information. So, have a nice day, customer service department. So that's a very nice piece. So let's see what's in the box. It's just very well packaged. And so we have the heart of the system here. This should be, let's see, pull this little guy out. Yep, the 16S, 48 volt, 200 amp BMS. So, BMS in the box. Two screws for the power. Looks like we've got Wi-Fi and sensing cable. We also have temperature probe, We have a UART cable, and yep. So we've got the UART cable that they had talked about. They sent me one of them, and then we have a looks like a RS40 485 to UART cable as well. So, and then we have two of the heavy gauge wires for hooking up the BMS. So, very nice little product. You know, I can say that thank you, Daly. They told me, they said once we got the other one working, they said they wanted me to send them some more data over a little bit of time to let them know if it continues to work, if we have any more recurrences of the communication issue. And the one thing I would say is that the BMS never quit functioning. As far as the power was able to go in and out, and I was able to monitor the BMS via Wi-Fi. Because the Wi-Fi, it's its own cable. It uses its own little cable here. Let me see if I can get this apart. So on top of the interface board, which I use to hook up to solar system, but it does come with its own Wi-Fi monitor. So I was able to monitor the Wi-Fi, and it did not quit working. It just quit communicating, and so we don't know why that glitch occurred. And so they wanted me to continue to monitor it, and that was the other reason that they sent the replacement BMS. They said, have one on the shelf because of the time and inconvenience that you know it did cause, so that if it happens again, I can just hot swap it out and go. So I know this is a little lengthy for me. It's we're running on a 12-minute video here, but one of the things that has encouraged me to do is the batteries. They're heavy. They're 250 plus pounds of batteries, and there's a lot of screws to get in and out of them to do testing. And so, if you can tell, I do a little bit of 3D printing, and so I've downloaded a 3D print file for a battery, and I have a abundance of 26,650 cells. So these are a 3.2 volt. I think most of these are testing out at around 1800 milliamp hours. And I am going to take and make a battery pack, and I have 3D printed the battery holders, the cell holders, and so I'm going to make a 2P16S battery out of these little cells that I can hook the BMSs up to, and it'll have a very small amp hour rating as far as up and down. It'll allow me to do some testing as far as the various voltages, and I'll be able to do it here on the bench. And so that's a project to look forward to. I know there's a lot of guys that build stuff. I'm not an electronics engineer. I'm in the medical profession, but I enjoy this as more of a hobby, and I enjoy the energy independence piece. So if you're interested in seeing somebody build a test battery, you're welcome to come along with the next few videos. And I gotta do a shout out because the Off-Grid Garage, Andy in Australia, he is, if you're not a member of his channel, and Andy has not paid me to say this, but and quite frankly, Andy's not a Daly BMS guy. I mean, he likes a different brand, but I think that everybody has their own likes and dislikes. I like the package. I like the, the, the way it works normally, and I gotta say is, after having gone through the customer service um, process, other than the fact of the time difference, it was a very good experience, and so I can recommend Daly as a company from the customer service aspect and from my past 10 months of heavy use, because these batteries are online 24/7 and have been um, for the past 10 months. The monitoring is good. Uh, there's a couple little things that I'd like to get Daly to maybe look at. And who knows? If they're going to watch this, maybe they'll reach out and ask me about them. But um, the the key piece is, if you want to see these become a battery with these, so there'll be 32 of these little guys. Should give me about a 3 to 4 amp hour test battery. And so um, I look forward to making a video and maybe showing along the way the parts and the pieces. And if it's something to interest you, like I said, don't do what I do, do what you do. And just remember, stay on the bright side of the sun and enjoy solar. It's more than a hobby; it's an experience. And so, if you go into it, the hobby is going to Harbor Freight and buying a 100-watt panel and charging a car battery to run a flashlight. That's where I was 2 years ago, and I needed more. And so my initial goal was to put in enough solar panels to run my well pump, so that in the event of the power being down, I would still have water here in my rural area in Missouri. And so I accomplished that. And then I said, well, if I can run my well pump, can I throw a few lights in there? And then, what if I wanted to stay cool? What if, what if, what if, what if? And now I'm at 18,000 watts. I have 15,000 watts of array with another 3,000 watts coming online over the next few weeks. I just got done burying conduit to run the wire. And if you guys have never pulled 160 feet of wire through 1-inch conduit, it's a fun job. We've had so much rain that's got me delayed, and I know there's people out there that they make their living off of doing this and taking videos and making, I make videos to share. And so I may not think like a producer. I may not think like I've got to do a video to make somebody happy, because I don't. I do need to just to let you know that one guy, real people, who started out with no solar experience, uh, can build something that essentially, last month's electric bill, I used $4 worth of electric from the electric company, and I could have done without that. It was one of those pieces that the generator could have kicked on and gave me my $4 worth of electricity. And so, welcome along. Um, I'll try to make some videos along the way of building these new arrays. I've already got the framework up. These are going to be a fixed array. I did repurpose some used panels that I got very, very right, and so I've had 12 of those running for about the past 3 months, and on a good day they're cranking in several kilowatts of power. A good day with my 3 Hyperion arrays arrays and my one Sun Gold Power array that I currently have up, I can bring in well over 60 kilowatts of power. Um, if I was using more of it, I could probably bring in more. The nice thing about the solar is that if you're not using it, it just quits making. So, once again, thank you. Thank you, Daly. I plan on sharing this to YouTube, and once again, have a good evening.